안녕하세요. 동포 여러분, 반갑습니다. We have today chapter 9 of the Six Patriarchs Platform Sutra. Everybody has a book in front of them. We have gone through the first 8 chapters, and now we come to chapter 9. The title is Royal Patronage. One thing that we notice here is that the emperor and the empress, they were involved in Buddhism, and they would invite a teacher to the capital city to teach them. And this was the custom in China. When Buddhism first came to China, it was very popular. And government people like the emperor and the empress, they were eager to learn about this new religion. And they were eager to invite the good teachers to the capital city to teach them Buddhism. Now, of course, it's hard for us to imagine nowadays because we don't have the similar situation in, at least not in Korea, and not in my country either, not in America. But in those days in China, we can say the Buddhism was very much in fashion. It was a popular, okay? It was a fashionable, and many people wanted to find out about this new religion. It's strangely, when religion is kind of new and people don't know so much about it, they're more interested. But when it's already old and they think that there's not much for them, then they're not so interested. Now it says here that on the 15th day of the first moon of the first year of Shenlong, an edict issued by the empress and the emperor said, since we invited Grandmasters Huiyan and Zhenshu to stay at the palaces to receive our offerings, we have studied the Buddha vehicle under them. Whenever we could find time after attending to our imperial duties, out of sheer modesty, these 2 masters recommended that we should seek the advice of Zen Master Huineng of the south, who had secretly inherited the Dharma and the robe of the 5th Patriarch, as well as the mind seal of the Lord Buddha. So here we see something very wonderful happening, is that the two masters, Grandmasters Huiyan and Zhenshi, they recommended that the emperor and the empress, that they invite the Zen master Huineng. And so they said, we thereby send eunuch Zhui Zhuan as the courier of this edict to invite the patriarch. Does everybody understand what eunuch is? How do you say in Korean? I think Neishi? Eunuch. Huh? No, eunuch is, there were many eunuchs maybe in Gyeongbok Palace, not far from here. He's the man who cannot get married, but he's not the monk, but cannot get married and work for the king. Neishi, right? Yeah, Neishi. I was correct. I saw a Korean movie. They have Neishi, right? So the eunuch, they send the eunuch as a courier to invite the patriarch to come and trust that the patriarch will graciously favor us with an early visit to the capital. Okay, they wanted to invite the patriarch to visit the capital, but the patriarch, he was sick, He was ill, so he sent a reply declining the royal invitation. He asked to be allowed to spend his remaining years in the forest. Okay? He did not wish to go to the city and teach and do these things because of his body illness. He was not so well. And then on his arrival, the eunuch, Zhi Jian, he's the eunuch, he asked the patriarch, Zen teachers in the capital advise people to meditate in the sitting position to attain samadhi. They say that this is the only way to liberation, and that it is impossible for anyone to obtain liberation without practicing meditation. May I know your way of teaching, sir? So this is a question that he brought from the capital city and asked the patriarch. And one important point is, they say that this is the only way to get liberation. Everybody understands what liberation is? How do you say in Korean? Huh? 해탈. 해탈. Now, nowadays many people don't really understand true meaning of the word 해탈. In Korean temple, many people call the dog 해탈. Jindo dog is called 해탈. But what's the true meaning of 해탈? This is a very not so easy to understand. And true liberation is only, they said, its only way to get a liberation is through meditation. And the meditation must be done in the sitting position. And the patriarch replied, the way is to be realized by the mind and does not depend on the sitting position. The sutra says that it is wrong for anyone to assert that the Tathagata comes or goes, sits or reclines. Why? Because the Tathagata's Zen of purity implies neither coming from anywhere nor going anywhere, neither appearing nor disappearing. So he made a point here that the liberation is not to be dependent on the sitting position. You don't have to be sitting in the lotus position. You don't have to be sitting in various positions, because the way is to be realized by the mind, not by the body. This is a point here. The way is to be realized by the mind. Many people thought the way was to be realized by the body. And they had this notion because they see a picture of the Buddha's body. The Buddha do many different things to train his body. But he explains here, it's wrong. The sutra also says it's wrong to say that the Tathagata comes or goes, sits or reclines. So Tathata, what's the Tathata? This means the true Buddha, the like this Buddha. Truth like this Buddha. Tathata. I don't know. I think in Korea, how do you say Tathata? Does anybody know? Yore. Correct. Yore. Buddha's translation very difficult. But Tathata is Yore. In Korea, we say Yaksa Yore Bul. This is a medicine. Tathata Buddha. Medicine. Yaksa Yore Bul. So, there is neither, the Tathata's, his purity, there is neither coming nor going. There is no going anywhere. In true Tathata, in true Yaksa Yore or Yore, there is no coming, going. There is no sitting, there is no walking. So, if you have this idea you must be sitting to get the liberation, this is false idea. Okay? Because a true Tathata Buddha is never come and never go. He's pure, very pure, and not appear, not disappear. So, strictly speaking, there is no such thing as attainment. then why then should we bother about the sitting position? So strictly speaking, in the strict sense of the word, how do you say strictly speaking in Korean? Okay, so if you're speaking very strictly and clearly, then there is no such thing as attainment. You already understand the Heart Sutra said, no attainment with nothing to attain. 무득이요, 무득이요, no attainment. 무득이요. So, why should we bother about the sitting position? So the patriarch, he's only teaching about the mind. He's not teaching about the body, only about the mind. Then the man who came, this courier, this Neishi, this eunuch, he said, when I return, their majesties will certainly ask me to make a report. Will you, sir, kindly give me some hints on essence of your teaching, so that I can make it known not only to their majesties, but also to the Buddhist scholars in the capital, as the flame of one lamp may kindle hundreds, even thousands of others, so the ignorant will be enlightened by your teaching, and your light will produce light without end. So he's speaking very kind of widely, and he said to the sixth patriarch, I need some essence, I need to get your teaching, essence of your teaching, and then many others can get it. He wanted the essence of the sixth patriarch's teaching and bring it to the capital and give it to the scholars there and share with others. But the patriarch said, the way has neither light nor darkness. Light and darkness signify the idea of alternation. Because light and darkness are a pair of opposites, there is an end. So don't say light will produce light without end. The sutra, the Vimalakirti Sutra says, Dharma has no comparison, so there is no form or opposites. So the speech of the eunuch had many opposites, dark and light. But these have some idea that things are alternating, things are changing. But in the true Dharma, in the strict sense, there's no light and dark. There's no enlightenment, there's no ignorance. This is the point he makes. There is no enlightenment, there is no ignorance. Let's say we try to understand what is darkness. Let's say, could you tell me what is a darkness? It's very difficult to describe, right? What is darkness? Because we only know darkness from light. Near here there is a light. If we turn off the lights, it becomes dark. But if we did not have the lights to begin with, how can we describe darkness? We can only describe darkness as the opposite of the light. We must take away the light. Just like some people say to me, oh, Musimsnim, why are you so white color skin? Why your skin white? Why not yellow like me? Maybe Asian people say, your skin is too white or so white. But the only reason my skin appears so white is because somebody's skin is darker. Understand? If your skin, everybody had the same color white skin, then my skin would not appear white. It's because of the opposites. Because we are opposites. So, because we have a light, we understand the dark. Light is the cause. Dark is a condition. So, Buddhism is a very clear teaching. We have cause, condition, and then what? Effect. Okay. Korean in, gwa, but one in between. 조건, right? 인조과. Is that correct? Cause, and then condition, and then effect. Okay? Then sixth patriarch, this is his way of the teaching was very simple, like that. If somebody asks, for example, if somebody asks, why is there the wooden statue over there? How is the wooden statue? Maybe he said there was a seed. There was a small seed. Now you see the wooden statue here. 3 wooden statues here. One, the Buddha, and over there maybe Kwanzaa and the Hotai, you know? You see the 3 wooden statue. Why is the wooden statue here? What's the cause? That maybe the sixth patriarch, oh, there was a very small seed. If there was no seed, the tree not grow. If the tree not grow, there's no wood. If the wood not come, you cannot have the statue. Of course, there are many conditions. If there was also you need somebody to carve, to make the statue. It's the same as if we have a seed, we put the seed in the ground, and we hope we're going to get some plant to grow. Maybe you know, nowadays many people when they have a little space, they put the corn and growing the corn. You know, everywhere I see, where I live, in the Chungcheongdo, you know, in Chungcheongnam-do, everybody, they have a little empty ground. They take some 옥수수 and push in the ground and hope some come up. You know. But some people, the corn is coming up very big, bigger than person, you know, very big and strong, looks really good. But somebody else, very small, very slow. This condition is different. The seed have to be good seed, and the ground, some good soil, many things like this. Many things. So this is all actually from opposites. From opposite, dry and wet, all the opposites. And bright and dark. And so what the sixth patriarch was teaching is that our mind is the fundamental. That these opposites are not the true Dharma. But our mind is creating things. He creates things from the opposite. Okay? Okay, so the Dharma has no comparison, so there's no form or opposites. He said, light signifies wisdom, and darkness signifies klesa, defilement. If a practitioner of the way does not break up klesa with the force of wisdom, how are they going to free themselves from the beginningless wheel of birth and death? So he said, how can we break up the defilement or ignorance? Okay? Then the sixth patriarch, he said, klesa, defilement is bodhi. Klesa is bodhi. The two are the same, not different. To break up klesa with wisdom is the teaching of the Shravaka school and the Pratyeka Buddha school, the followers of the goat vehicle and the deer vehicle. Wise people are like this. So he said, don't talk to me about breaking up the klesa. So some schools of Buddhism, they talk like that. Oh, you have many impurities. You have many defilements. You must break up the defilements using your wisdom light. But the sixth patriarch teaching is no. This klesa, this defilement is bodhi, is enlightenment. They are not different. They are the same. Wise people should not teach like that. Then he asked, what is the teaching of the Mahayana school? And Patriarch said, for ordinary people, enlightenment and ignorance are two things. Wise people who realize thoroughly their true nature know they are the same. This non-dual nature is what we call true nature. It neither decreases in the case of ignorant persons, nor increases in the case of the enlightened sages. It is not disturbed in a state of annoyance or still in a state of samadhi. It is neither permanent nor impermanent. It neither goes nor comes. It is not to be found outside or the inside, or in the space between the two. It is without life and death. Its nature is always in a state of like this. It is permanent and unchanging. Such is the way. So he talks about wise people. They realize that their true nature, and they know it, and it's the same. So they have not two kinds of nature. Wise people understand everything is their true nature. Even their impure thoughts, even their many problem is all part of their true nature. Wise people realize this. Then the eunuch asked, you say that it is without life and death, and then how do you differentiate it from the teaching of the heretics who say the same thing? And he talks about heretics. Do you understand what heretics are? Huh? You don't know. Who knows what the word heretic means? Huh? Ego? No, heretic means non-believers. Those who do not believe in the Mahayana, those who do not believe in any, have no faith. There are those who are heretics, and in the teachings of the heretics, when you die, you are finished. Life is completely finished. Everything is extinct. And so what they mean by death is not actually annihilation, and what they call life does not exist. So it's a very not easy to understand. The heretics are those who do not believe in the Dharma. They don't believe in Dharma. They don't believe in the truth. They only believe that when you die, your life is finished. Life is over. There is nothing beyond that. It's finished like that. But what they mean, then he goes on to explain what I mean by no life, no death is this. Originally there is no life and also no death. Those are opposites. Life and death are opposites. Life and death are opposites. So these opposites come from where? If somebody, for example, says, my life is suffering, then how do we teach them? Because if they say their life is suffering, then the only way we can teach them is we can say to them, where did you come from before you're born? If you say your life is suffering, then we must show them that there is something before your life, before you are born. Also, when you die, where do you go? Most people cannot answer. That means life and death are also opposite, but most people are very attached to life. So he said the heretic is also very attached to life. But his teaching is no life, no death. Originally there's no life and also no death. The true Dharma is not born and does not die. And he said that's the difference between his teaching and the heretics. If you want to know the essence of the teaching, don't think about good and bad. Then naturally your mind will be in a continuous state of stillness and purity. Its functions will be as many as the grains of sand in the Ganges. How many grains of sand are in the Ganges? Countless, right? How many grains of sand are on the big, in Korea we have a big beach, like Daecheon Beach or Haeundae Beach. How many grains of sand are there? Can you count? Cannot, right? Endless, okay? So, his point is that if you want to know essence of the teaching, of the Dharma, don't think about good and bad. When you think about good and bad, your mind is not Dharma. But if you don't think about good and bad, naturally your mind will be in a continuous state of stillness and purity. Your mind is, by itself, is pure and still. And its function, it has many different functions. It's like a computer. That high-level computer can do many things, many different functions. But the low-level computer, small calculator, can only do one or two functions. That's the point. So before many times, the Zen master taught us our mind is like the computer. If your mind is very undeveloped, then it's like a small calculator. It's only calculating how much money I have and calculating how much happiness I will get. A very low level, we say low level computer, only calculate a small quantities. But if your mind is more wide and your mind is infinitely big, then more function is possible, many more functions. Not only you calculate your happiness now, but you can understand many different things and how they interact. Relationship between different people and different things. Of course, sometimes we have to press the clear button on the computer, on the calculator. If we don't press the clear button, the data will be overloaded. Everybody knows that. If you have too much data in your computer, you get overload and you get errors. So you have to clean out your hard drive. And the same with our mental state. We have to clean out our mental drive, our hard drive. When it's very easy to put more data in. Everybody is busy putting in more data. But cleaning out the data is very difficult. It's much more difficult to take out old programs and take out old data and cleaning. So this is very important. We should not always think about good and bad and right and wrong. If we don't think about good and bad, don't think about right and wrong, then naturally the mind will be in a state of stillness and purity. So the sixth patriarch was one of the first teachers to teach about the state of the mind. He is like one of the first psychologists, Buddhist psychologist. He talks about the mind in its original purity. And he says that when you are not thinking good and bad, not thinking right and wrong, then you will find the function of your mind, okay? Of course, this is require that we have to not dependent on the mind either. So then the teaching of this patriarch, he suddenly awoke Ji Zhan to great enlightenment. So the eunuch also got enlightenment. The Neshi, he also got enlightenment. And he bowed and he took leave of the patriarch and he returned to the palace. And he reported what the patriarch had said to their majesties. Who's their majesties mean? Emperor and empress. Majesty, anytime the word your majesty means the king or the queen or the emperor or the empress. So even today, if you go to the UK, to Great Britain, they say Her Majesty the Queen. Okay? So he went to the palace and he told what the patriarch said to the majesties, and in that same year an edict was issued commending the patriarch. Does everybody know what an edict is? It's like a formal statement, an official letter. And it said, on the grounds of old age and poor health, the patriarch declined our invitation to come to the capital. Devoting his life to the practice of Buddhism for our benefit, he is indeed a field of merit for the nation. Everybody understands what a field of merit is? Merit means like 공덕, 공덕의 밭. He's a field of merit. 공덕의 밭. Yeah. He's a field of merit for the nation. And following the example of Virmalakirti, who recuperated in Vaisali, he widely spreads the Mahayana teaching, transmits the doctrine of the Zen school, and expounds the system of non-dual Dharma. Through Zhu Jian, to whom the patriarch has imparted the Buddha knowledge, we are fortunate enough to have a chance to understand for ourselves the teaching of higher Buddhism. This must be due to our accumulated merits and our roots of goodness planted in past lives. Otherwise, we would not be the contemporaries of the patriarch. So this is it, like Chinese style. Chinese people often talk this way. They say, today I meet you, and this is good due to the good fortune, some good karma we made in past life, so we're meeting today. We have a good karma, a good merit, roots of goodness we planted in past lives, and so we are meeting today. So this is a Chinese style also. This means they understand this patriarch's teaching, cause and effect. So in appreciation of the graciousness of the patriarch, we present him with a mola robe and a crystal bowl. The governor of Shaozhou is hereby ordered to renovate his monastery and to convert his old residence into a temple, which will be named Guoen, State Munificence. So at that point, the sixth patriarch was recognized by the state, by the emperor, by the empress, as being being the teacher with a Buddha knowledge, and officially the state supported him and they made his old residence into a temple. And if you go to China today, to southern China, you can still see the temple that they are talking about here. This temple is in the Guangzhou, the Guangdong, not Guangzhou, Guangdong province. And the temple is not in Guangzhou city, but from Guangzhou city is maybe by train 6 hours. And there is a place where there is a monastery called the Borimsa. Originally it's called Borimsa. And then later the name again changed to Namhwasa, Namhwasonsa. Now the name is Namhwasonsa. Namhwa means a southern flower, Zen temple. If you go to China, you can see in this temple, the sixth patriarch body is there. And you can see the many things related to sixth patriarch at this temple. Are there any questions today? No question?